Shavua Tov, everybody. My friends, I was asked to come up here to speak with you for a couple of minutes. Here? To speak with you for a couple of minutes. And I want to share with you a story. There was a very wealthy man, maybe one of the wealthiest Jews that ever lived. His name was Ray Fis. Some of you may know him. And this fellow, Mr. Ray Fis, was very wealthy to the point that a yeshiva in Canada decided that they wanted to honor him at their dinner. And of course, it's understood that when you honor someone at the dinner, that person comes and they contribute, and they pay for the dinner, and they make the biggest donation of anyone that comes. Okay? Unfortunately, there was a very crazy story that happened in London at the time. I don't know if many of you remember. It was something called Canary Wharf. He invested billions of dollars, and there was a condition with the English government that they were going to build a tram that would take you from the mainland to this area to Canary Wharf. In the end, the government reneged on their promise, and he lost everything. I'm sure everyone who's talking only understands Spanish, so they're bored by it. This man loses all of his money. And he calls the yeshiva and he says, I know that I was supposed to be on your dinner and running the thing. He says, but now I don't have the ability to do it. So maybe you should give the kavod to someone else. The yeshiva says, are you joking? Just because now all the years you supported every tzedakah, all the years you were barosh barishona, your name is on all the buildings, of course we're going to bring you here. How can we not? If you can, you can, but we still want to honor you. My friends, Mr. Reichman came to the dinner, and he stands up on the stage, and the whole place goes quiet. And he says, I know some of you are wondering, I know some of you have a question. I know some of you are wondering, a man like me, who gave so much money to tzedakah, how could it be that I lost my money? How could it be that Borei Olam would let such a Baal tzedakah lose his money? When we know that the only mitzvah in the Torah that you're allowed to test God is on this mitzvah, like the Pasuk says, B'chanuni na bazot, test me. Come to me, say to me, I'm going to give 20%, I'm going to give 50%, and Hashem, you pay me back. God says you can test me. How could it be that a person like me who gave so much has lost their money? In this room, you could hear a pin drop. And he says, I want to tell you the Gemara. The Gemara says that when the Beit HaMikdash was destroyed, so they saw a big Talmid Chacham, Yochanan ben Zakkai, was on his donkey, and he's walking through driving through the streets of Jerusalem, and he sees a young woman who's on the floor, and she's picking the food out of the waste of a donkey, that a donkey went to the bathroom, and she's picking out the little pieces of food that hadn't been digested by the donkey. And he sees this young Jewish woman, and she turns around, and he recognizes her. She's the daughter of one of the wealthiest men in Yerushalayim, of Nakdimo Ben Gurion. And he says to her, how could it be that the daughter of someone who gave so much money to tzedakah is now suffering in poverty? And he says to everyone at the dinner, I want you to hear her answer. The Gemara brings two answers. He went with one. The Gemara says, indeed, he gave a lot to tzedakah. But according to what he had, according to what he could have given, he didn't give. He gave a tremendous amount. But according to what he had, he could have given more. Said Reichman to everyone at the dinner, it's true I gave unimaginable amounts of money to tzedakah, but according to what I had, I didn't give enough. And with that, Mr. Reichman sat down. The yeshiva raised more money that night than they ever raised before. My friends, I want to ask all of you in this room one question. If I could ask for 1 minute of just complete silence, and if every one of your table speaks Spanish, could the one person who speaks English translate? I want you to imagine. I'll use my movie voice.
Ever since the beginning of time, in the year 1701,
I want you to imagine Nachshon ben Aminadav. The Jews are in the worst situation of their life. The Egyptians are coming, the water's in front of them, and no one knows what to do. And Moshe says to the Jews, travel! And everyone is frozen. They're terrified. And all of a sudden, Nachshon looks at the water. Da, 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 da. He starts running in slow motion. And Nachshon gets to the water, and he jumps in the water. And he gets up to his nose, and the water splits. You know what every single Jew was thinking? Every Jew, every man, every woman, every child. When the water split, they all thought the same thing. Why wasn't that me? My friends, right now, this is a piece of paper. What we looked at just now from the architect is a piece of paper with buildings and houses, and it's nothing but a dream. But the time will come when it's going to be built, and you're going to turn to the people next to you and say, you know what? I was at the concert, and I could have been there, and I could have jumped in. And then everybody, instead of saying the name of Nachshon ben Aminadav, would say the name of Shlomo ben Yitzchak Farchi, because I was the one that put down the first down payment. Who wants to be the person that when this is a reality, people will say, where were you? Every person here has a story about how they almost invested in Yahoo, how they almost bought stocks in Google, how they almost owned 2 Bitcoins or 2 Dogecoins, how they could have bought Tesla when it was still low. My friends, you have the chance now to buy when it's low. Don't get stuck in the cold. Don't wish you were Nachshon. Be Nachshon. My friends, I have a Nachshon to introduce. My chavruta from the Kollel back in the day. A person who has taken the Jewish music